everyone watching. We are having a special guest today from the novel of Mice and Men. Our guest today goes by the name of George Milton. George is a ranch hand in Soledad with his buddy Lenny. Lenny is physically strong but mentally weak, and because of this, George has to take care of Lenny. Today, George will be talking to us about his friend Lenny. He will also tell us how through Lenny's character, Steinbeck conveys that the weak are at the mercy of the strong. Without further ado, let's welcome George Milton, everybody. Hi, George. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. So I've already told the audience a little about you, but would you like to tell them more about yourself?
Sure thing. That ain't no problem. I'm George Milton. I work as a ranch hand, and every day I face a new challenge with my bud Lenny.
Speaking of you and Lenny, would you mind me asking a few questions about you two?
That'll be no problem.
Okay, good. So at the beginning of the novel, you seem to be short-tempered with Lenny and his memory. You even go on to say to Lenny, and I quote, "You forgot that already, did you? I gotta tell you again, do I?" Would you care to explain?
No problem. Ever since Lenny's Aunt Clara died, I've been taking care of Lenny. He got in trouble in weed, and that's why we had to leave and go to Soledad. Lenny needs to remember so we don't get in no trouble. Lenny always be forgetting important things, and I get mad because I don't want no trouble in Soledad. It's hard to have patience with Lenny when he always be forgetting things, but I don't mean to be mean to him.
I understand how that could get frustrating. You stress to Lenny that he remembers one thing. What is that one thing, and why is it so important that he remembers it?
I need Lenny to remember that. He ain't gonna say a word. I want him not to say nothing to the boss, because if he finds out what a crazy bastard he is, he won't get me no job. But if the boss sees the work before he hears him talk, we are set. Lenny ain't bright, but he is sure a good worker, and I want the boss to see him before he hears him.
He end up doing this?
Not exactly. When I was talking to the boss and Lenny said, "strong as a bull" under his breath, when I told him to say nothing. Since Lenny said something the boss told me, he got his eye on me. I told Lenny after to remember to keep his flap shut from now on.
You told Lenny to keep his flap shut, and you make it clear to him that he can't get in trouble. But then you go against your word and tell him to fight Curly. Why?
Well, I knew a wimpy guy like Curly would never win against Lenny. I guess I shouldn't have told him to, because we would have gotten canned. But I couldn't keep watching Lenny get beat and not fight back. I worked out for the best of us, though, with us not getting canned.
I'm glad it worked out for the best. I also would like to know why you make sure Lenny stays away from... Oh my gosh, we should have rehearsed this. I forget what the questions are. Okay. I'm glad it worked out for the best. I also would like to know why you make sure Lenny stays away from Curly's wife.
When Candy told me he thinks Curly's married a tart, I didn't want Lenny to go around to her and get in trouble like what happened in Weed. With her being the only girl on the ranch and the fact that she's Curly's wife, I couldn't risk Lenny getting us canned, so I tell him to stay away from her.
Does Lenny listen and follow this rule you made for him?
No. He tries to when Lenny tells her that he ain't supposed to talk to her or nothing, but her being a little tart, she talked him into saying and talking to her. I really wish Lenny would have kept his hands to himself. He can't help it, though. He don't know his own strength. Lenny ended up killing Curly's wife. I should have been there to tell him to stop, or been with him so he wouldn't have talked to her at all.
It's really no one's fault, and you can't blame yourself. But if you don't mind me asking, George, you and Lenny talk about this dream together. What makes you not pursue it without him?
I did always say we were going to get the Jack together, and we were going to have a little house and a couple of acres and a cow and some pigs. And I don't think I ever thought this would really happen because I'm a ranch hand. I only believed it because it made Lenny happy when I always said it. I don't think we would have ever really done it, but Lenny would have loved it, though. Him and those rabbits.
That's too bad. I wish things would have worked out for you two. I believe our time is nearly up, so I want to thank you for coming and answering my questions.
Well, thank you for having me.
Now that we've learned more about George and how the weak is at the mercy of the strong, stay tuned next week when we learn how cats always land on their feet.